is where I can be strong. This is where I can learn who I am by living on this farm. So I worked very hard, and I started feeling very bad. I was having more clumsy moments than usual, which is saying something. And I noticed at work my handwriting was getting worse. And I was scared again after I recovered all that. And my husband and I took a vacation to Chicago to see Dave Matthews Band Caravan, which is a 3-day music festival, which I can't hear, but I listen so much I will go to a 3-day music festival. And we got to hang out and relax all week in Chicago before the festival. I kept thinking, I just don't feel well because I'm tired. But on Friday, the first day of the festival, I had a seizure. And it was a partial seizure. It was just in this arm. But my arm went numb. I couldn't feel my fingers. And the nerves in this forearm started jumping out. And we freaked out. And he said, "Do you want to go home?" I said, no, we're going to your concert. So we take the train to South Chicago, and we're on the south side. We walk 3 miles. It's about 110 degrees out. We get to the concert. It's a portable venue. It's unorganized. It must have been like the first Woodstock. And we're trying to get to the front stage. Brandon always wants to be at the front so I can feel the music. All of our seats for all of our Dave Matthews Band concerts have been right at the front so I can feel the music. But it was so crowded, I knew we were never going to get to the stage. So I asked a worker where the wheelchair stage was. I said, "I'm mobility impaired." And he said, "You can't get on there. We don't have your name." And I said, "Look it. I am mobility impaired. I am deaf. I'm going to get trampled by that crowd, and you're going to have a lawsuit on your hands if you don't put me on that stage." So they put me on the stage that they had built for people with wheelchairs, which was, it's big for me to admit my weakness to a stranger. I'm not a weakness. It's now a strength. But it's hard not to see it as a weakness because it's what makes me different. And for so long and so much, I tried to be normal and fit in. I mean, think about it. When I walked up here and I started talking to you, I didn't know I was deaf. You thought of me one way. And if you knew I was deaf, you would have had a perception, a schema of how I'm supposed to act. Most people, when I say I'm deaf, they say, "But you talk so well." I say, "Well, I should talk so well. I can hear when I learn to speak." Now people who are trying to get out of appointments for me because they're like, "Oh, well, you're deaf. I don't know how I can handle that." I'm like, "Oh, but I talk really well for a deaf person." So anyway, we get on the stage. We have a great view of Dave. And I told Brandon, I said, "Now we're up here with the rock and rollers." It was a great concert. We had a great time. But we got home from Chicago. I knew it was time to go to the doctor. And my doctor was no help. My neurologist here in Springfield, he blew me off. He said, I told him all the problems I'm having. They're getting worse. I'm falling all the time. My handwriting is worse. Headache. And he said, well, you probably have another brain tumor. Do you want some steroids? He was one foot out the door as he's saying that. And I said, you're guessing a lot without even ordering an MRI. But he left. And I spent 2 weeks on the phone trying to get a recommendation from him to a good doctor in St. Louis who specializes in the disease that causes brain tumors. But he wouldn't give the recommendation. I finally found the number of an old neurologist I'd gone to in Kansas City. And she was a young woman who was just a little bit older than me. The last time I had seen her was in 2008. And so we called her for the first time in like July of this year. And she's transferred to a different hospital, and that's why I didn't have her number. And my sister called her office and left a message and said, look, Julia is worried. You know, for 15 years, she's been patiently waiting and seeing and ignoring all signs of what's wrong with her because she thinks that it will work out because it's part of God's plan. But this time she's worried and she needs attention. And within 30 minutes, Dr. Husband, that woman, called back. She said, I'll call you back in another 30 minutes and tell you whether you're coming to Kansas City tonight or tomorrow because we're getting you a bed. So you're coming to KUMC soon. Go home and pack your bag. So she called us right back and said, you're coming tonight, I got you a room. So I was straight, this is where we're staying at my dad's farm, hoping the house would sell. And I went straight home to my dad. And I said, Dad, we have to have happy hour real quick because I have to go to the hospital tonight. And so we had 4 blue moons apiece. And we laughed and we talked about what a blessing it's been to get together so closely with my illness. And what a blessing it's been for all the close relationships and blessings in our lives that have come through meeting other people for the help. You know, we just had a great relationship. So we had a great last happy hour. I went to the hospital. We got there at 12:30 in the middle of the night. And we walked into a 7,000-bed hospital. Brandon called the door outside the admittance office and said, we're here. And this lady came out. She had my wife's hospital tag already printed out. She said, we've been expecting you. You're on the 7th floor. And we walked up, and the nurses said, where have you been? We've been waiting on you. Here's your room. And all these 60-year med students came in and examined me. And the next morning, they took me away to an MRI. And then what they told me, the nurses were like, you're so lucky you got Dr. Camerata. He's the best brain surgeon in the country. So my neurologist, Dr. Husband, took me up with him. And they came in and they showed me my MRI. I have a tumor about that big, right on top of my head. And they said it needs to come out right away because it's already displaced so much brown in the skull. Your head feels like a unicorn on top. And after he left my hospital room, Dr. Husband, the woman who helped me, said, so what do you think? And I said, I think you just saved my life. And she said, And she asked all of her medical students to leave. And she got out a photo album. And she said, let me tell you how you saved my life. She said, the last time I saw you in 2008, I was pregnant. Do you remember? I said, yes. She said, my baby was born and started having trouble immediately with a heart problem. And everybody told me to give up because she wasn't going to have a good quality of life. She said, but I remembered you. I remembered all the problems you faced. When you kept a good attitude, you were happy, you learned to overcome it so that you could relate to people. You didn't let your diversity get to you. And for 6 months, my baby fought the hardest battle she could. And it was the hardest 6 months of my life. And every day I remembered you. I remembered that all you would overcome. And I thought, my baby can live a normal life. She can be like Julie.